Today, I'll be doing an overnight packraft trip to a place I look at all the time but rarely visit. It sits out in Skagit Bay like it's trying not to be noticed. But try as it might, it's hard not to let your gaze linger on its old-growth tree lines and rocky alcoves. No marina, no dock, just current, wind, and whatever judgment the tide has for you that day. I'm taking you to Hope Island. So I ended up just walking this down to the beach from the property up above. Wasn't too bad. Wore the backpack and carried the raft that has all the rest of the gear inside it. I'm just going to top it off now because it's been sitting for an hour and it feels like it could use a little topping off, and should be a smooth crossing. It's a beautiful day, my goodness. So this bag, I know it wasn't designed for this specifically, but I tell you what, this new design bag with the kind of the straps on the side, these straps work absolutely perfect. There's 4 points for securing this to the bow. Just like that. You can see I got the zipper facing me, so if I need to grab something out of there, I can. Let's go for a paddle, shall we? You can see how the current's coming pretty fast right there. Still coming in. And now it's gonna go out coming up, so hopefully I could catch this smoothly into Hope Island. Okay, so I made it around that point. Took some effort, I'm not gonna lie. When the seasons start to change, just let it go. Just let us fall to the ground, our roots will grow. And I sing down to the sea below, down to the winds below. Silence got my heart, it's got my soul. It's a feeling deep inside, it's all I know. Made it to the little campground area here. She lost a little air once my body wasn't pressing against it. Not sure if that's from just the cold water. Better check that I zipped it completely and that it's sealed there and that it's sealed at the cap. But other than that, performed well and got me across. I took my time once I got around the corner. So it probably took me maybe an hour and 15. I didn't time it. But yeah, I'm gonna check out the sites here and choose my home for the night. Found a nice camp spot here. Nice spot for the tent. Close enough to the fire. There's a loo up there in the woods. Oh, I did also bring my shovel. Most of my gear is in here. First thing I need to do, start letting some air out. So part of maintaining this Packraft is just to make sure you keep this zipper clear. You don't want sand getting in there, and you don't want any dirt or grime, basically. So I'm gonna make sure that's nice and clean around the edges and on the top at least, before I go ahead and open it up. There we go. Better having it be really stiff than loose, because it's kind of important. So I have sleeping pad number 1. I have an air pad too, because I'm old. Got my little sitting pad. So there's a little hook for a carabiner to go into to keep the dry bags from slipping all the way down the tube, which would not be fun to retrieve. I feel like I'm helping a calf give birth. Let's see. Push, push. All right, so I just attached this one to the other dry bag there. Got half my gear in this one. This one's pretty light. This one has my tent, and it's significantly heavier. So, and I noticed, especially towards the end here, the boat starting to lift a little bit. So I am going to keep that in mind next time I pack, and just make sure I distribute the weight equally between these two bags, because they're saddling here. That's a pretty cool Packraft. I'm new to this world, and I'm pretty happy to have found it, actually. I'm gonna have a lot of fun in this. Tent's all set up. Before I set a fire, I'm gonna go explore. I gotta find some wood. Sound of freedom, baby. All right, yeah. I'm gonna go explore, maybe find some mushrooms if I'm lucky. Probably not. I'm trying to find some wood. So let's go find some wood, shall we? There is a trail on this island. Freshly whacked too. Looks like somebody's been maintaining it. Yeah, it looks like a cut. Definitely, because there's more of them. Sometimes a good place to find dry firewood, dry-ish, here in the Northwest, is underneath big logs that are kind of sheltered. Not much in there, but I figure I'm gonna explore this trail a little bit and then I'll collect some firewood on the way back. I am curious why All Trails doesn't have anything listed for this island. It is a state park. There's clearly a trail. The next island over, Skagit Island, has a trail that goes around that perimeter. There are some large trees back here. So this trail goes way back. Probably goes across sideways to the bluff area. It's 3:30 now. Maybe have another hour of light. So let's pick up the pace here. Every day is a place in the gateway, through the woods, through the hills, but you always find so lost on the road to be found. So today, bury you down. Till they push on the road, cut the glass back. Like it goes down to the beach there. So I think this is the beach I was hanging out, waiting for the current to die down a little bit, which means right up here is the bluff.
continues down that way. So pretty out. So if you're not familiar with the area, that over there is Whidbey Island. So all the spit would be right around the corner there. That's where I came from. Oh, that's Whidbey Island. In the far distance, right through there would be Camino Island. And it goes in right here to the LaConner Slough area. So this is Fidalgo Island over here. It sure is pretty. Dang. Still got some sun up there, so let's continue following this a little ways. I am a little nervous because I just left everything back there. I know there are coyotes over here because you hear them. Not all the time though. It's like once a month they'll be yipping over here. Not sure if they swim over here once a month or if they just get, you know, in the party mode once a month, but there is the possibility of coyotes and whatever else wants to get in my pack and eat my food. Not necessarily worried about humans, although I did just leave all my equipment laying around too, but I really don't expect to see other humans this trip. Thank God. So Hope Island's pretty long, as you can see. Well, the trail kind of stops here. You can still make some forward momentum. It's not that brushy, but we got stuff to do, right? But I am gonna just sit here for a moment, take this in, because it's moments like this that you come for. Look at what I found. 3 golden chanterelles. So I think I'm gonna refrain. When in doubt. After inspecting these closer, I think what I got here are some winter chanterelles, not golden chanterelles. First thing you want to do is just kind of run your finger along the gills, and it should feel like wrinkles rather than blades, which it passes that test. Next, you want to pull it apart, and if it was golden, it would be solid. It would be like a pale yellow solid. This is hollow, and that there indicator to me means winter. You want to smell them, they should smell fruity, like a little apricot. And they were growing in like soft soil. Sorry I didn't videotape it for you, but they were grown in soft soil rather than a tree. So that's good enough for me. I'm going to eat them, but you should always be very confident when it comes to mushrooms, and don't take Jameson's word for it. Use your own expertise, use your own resources just to make sure. But yeah, it's a little early in the season for these, but it happened. So I'm going to consume them. My PFT is going to make a great pillow tonight, so multi-purpose object here. The other option was to actually take out the whitewater inflatable footrest on my boat, because I could pull that out, inflate it, so it would have been worked as a pillow too, but I think this is going to work great tonight. Okay, so I'm just going to throw these chanterelles in the pot first. I'm going to let these cook down just a little bit. So next I'm going to add this freeze-dried corn to the mix. Give that a little stir. So now I'm going to add the water. I'm gonna add a little of this bone broth. And I'm gonna just let this slowly, I got the burner on low. The corn actually needs some time to reconstitute. So at this point, I'm just gonna let it simmer for a while before we go to the next step. This has been simmering for a little while now, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this little pouch of white chicken to the mix. And last, mashed potatoes. These come in a couple of flavors that I like. The loaded baked potato works, and the garlic mashed potatoes are actually really good too. So I'm just gonna slowly add this in. I'll go ahead and turn off the burner now too. That feels about right. I'm not gonna quite use all this because for one person, one of these pouches is it's pretty big. Sometimes I just use a half. I'm doing a little more because I haven't really eaten since breakfast. So I think I'm up to the task. So on these hiking trips going forward, I'm gonna have a couple of different approaches. One, I have a lot of really good, high quality backpacking meals, and those are fun sometimes. There's not a whole lot of them that I like, but there's a few good ones, and I'm always exploring and trying new ones as well. The other approach is to do this because it's really cheap. I don't know offhand the numbers, but I'll go ahead and put it on screen. Because these are really cheap, the pouch chicken's really cheap. I get the freeze dried corn in the big cans by Augustin Farms. The bone broth powder is optional. I just wanted a few extra calories to make it nice and rich. The chanterelles didn't cost much either. So this is kind of one of my go-tos, especially with in search and rescue and stuff, having in my kit because this stuff will last forever, and it's easy, really lightweight to pack. So as long as you have water to bring it back to life, you're good to go. I think this is going to be delicious. It's going to have the chicken in it, all the flavors of the loaded mashed potatoes. So there's some cheese in there and stuff. You have the mushrooms, the richness of the bone broth. It's really, really good. It's going to give me nice dreams, I think. I gave the corn proper time because it takes a while for that to soften up. So either put in water and let it sit there beforehand, or just let it simmer for a little bit. This is kind of an unusual spot because I feel really removed from everything, right? I'm on an island. I got the island to myself as far as I know. But right across the way is Fidalgo Island, and you could hear the slow soft rumble of Highway 20 in the backdrop, and of course you have the Navy jets going over every once in a while as well. It's good to have places close to home that you could just, make it happen without any big plans or mileage involved. This is one of those trips.
By evening, the calmness settles in and the island gets quiet in the way that feels earned. The Navy jets finally wrap up their training for the day, and although you feel removed from the hustle and bustle across the water, the distant hum of the oil refinery and Highway 20 reminds you that life carries on outside your camp. Luckily, the gentle lapping of waves and distant call of the heron offset the sound pollution. I could hear coyotes yipping. I'm pretty sure they're over on Fidalgo Island, though. Time will tell. Nothing like the warmth of a fire working its way up your kilt. Sweet dreams. See you on the morrow. You could see the moon behind me. It's about 3:30 a.m. A little before midnight. Got a wave of nausea. And did a little research comparing the mushroom to the jack-o'-lantern mushroom. That's the main one that would be mistaken, but again, didn't look like that, and it wasn't growing on wood or in a cluster or have gills down the stem. So I woke up at 2, well, I didn't sleep very much, but at 2:30 it hit me really hard. I could barely get out of my tent fast enough. And again now at 3:30. So I'm gonna sit here for a little bit. At least I have the moon shining down into my campsite. Got calm, still water in front of me, so yeah, we'll see how the rest of this night goes. Good morning. Well, I'm starting to feel back to normal. Actually got to sleep at 5. It's 7 now. So sunrise is coming up pretty quick here. And the tide really came up all the way to the bank. So I'm gonna make some coffee. See what this day brings. So what do you think? Is the leggings under my kilt acceptable? I don't really care this morning. All I care about is fire and coffee. I'm halfway there. So I think the plan today, it's 8:30 now, is going to be to paddle around clockwise of Hope Island and get over to the other side and find a nice beach, because the sun's going to be over on that side. And it would be nice to get a little vitamin D. But yeah, this is saving me right now. The Summit Sunrise Bar is replenishing. Wow. I might just lay down for another half hour though. Just try to do a reset. And then get the pack ready and hit the water. It's gonna be a nice one today. Just across the water, over near Skagit Island, things almost went very differently. In the 1970s, this stretch of shoreline was slated to host a nuclear power plant, part of Washington's ambitious energy expansion, before budgets collapsed and reality stepped in. A reactor here, cooling water pulled from this bay, transmission towers marching inland. Instead, nothing. Financial disaster, political backlash. The whole thing folded in on itself before concrete ever hit the ground. It's strange to imagine a place that almost changed the entire region's trajectory, and now hosts little more than gulls and eelgrass. Cascadia has a way of flirting with industry, and occasionally walking away at the last second. other people I saw in 24 hours showed up just as I was breaking camp. They weren't here for solitude. They were here to pull invasive plants from the bluff and surrounding area. Conservation isn't romantic, it's repetitive. It's hands in the dirt. It's going back to the same hillside year after year and pulling the same stubborn roots. That might be the real story of this place. Getting around to the far corner. It's a nice beach here. With these high tides, the high tides go all the way up to the forest. So far I haven't seen any other good camping spots along this side, aside from the designated park camping ground. But if you time it right, there's some nice little beaches. One of the search and rescue exercises we did last year was going to all these little islands and figuring out where we could actually come ashore safely. I think we did that right around the corner here, although there's no trails on this side. We did it over on Skagit Island, across the way there. It's fun to get to know these waters better. And I am grateful for Skagit Bay Search and Rescue for training me to learn that skill. So, shout out to them. I think the sun's right around this corner, so let's go find it.
Chanterelle's golden brown. roads would never come easy. Like a ghost on a bed, a single stone cast alone with wide to wish you here.
So much fresh driftwood on these beaches from the historic floods we had about a month and a half ago now. And the Skagit comes out, it forks and then comes out over there. So this area gets a lot of driftwood coming through, sucked out through Deception Pass. But yeah, this beach caught a lot of it. Cool little fort somebody built. So that little nook up there, that little bluff is where I hiked down to. It's where I turned around yesterday. Cool little beaches here. All right, so I'm getting around to the back to the front side facing Hope Island, so I think I'm about to just head for it. Slack tide's coming up, not for a little bit, so I think the tide's still going out, which might work out in my favor because I'll be coming off the south corner of Hope Island, so that might put me where I want to be on all this bit. Let's test that theory, shall we? The bedrock beneath Hope Island isn't typical Northwest sandstone or basalt. It's serpentinite, a metamorphic rock formed deep at tectonic plate boundaries. In fact, this stone began as a material from Earth's mantle, rock from nearly 20 miles below the ocean floor, pushed upward over millions of years. What looks like quiet shoreline is actually a piece of ancient seafloor, lifted up and stranded here, right in Skagit Bay.
Hope Island over there. The crossing worked out pretty well. I mean, when I was coming across, I was heading towards the end, but then you get most of the way over and you start heading back to the direction you want to go. So I'm just going to let the current take me into the beach, closest to the parking lot there. You can see how shallow it is here. Like there's a sandbar that goes way out. Fly fishermen love it, and certain sailboaters hate it because we've seen a handful run aground there over the years, and it's really sad to see the tide go out and a full-size sailboat on its side, just waiting for the tide to come back in. We've seen fishing boats hit that too. You think they'd know better? But I think on one of those fishing boats, my parents may have walked down and bought some salmon, which was convenient. This is just slowly carrying me down the beach, and I'm heading towards that sandy section because I don't want to pull this raft up on barnacle rocks. Just about to the end of this adventure. You can see how shallow it is. This is where I get out and walk it the rest of the way. So, cold wet feet, here we come. So I will say, definitely held its air fully that whole trip around the island and across. I think it deflated yesterday because maybe I didn't have this tight enough for that rubber seal to hold. I don't think it was the zipper, or it could be that I just didn't temper it. With these pack rafts, you want to let the air inside kind of get to the same temperature as the cold water. So how you do that is you fill it up like this and you put it in, you kind of splash this cold water on it and kind of let it sit in there to balance out, and then you put more air in it to get it back up once it deflates a little bit. And I did not do that yesterday.
Hope Island doesn't send you off with much ceremony. No signs, no monuments, just tide moving the way it always has. An island built by river silt, rock lifted from the ocean floor. I'll be back, maybe to search for those fruit trees in the fall. But next time, I'll be a little more certain about what I cook up in the pan. Until then, thanks for paddling with me.